Hey, everybody. Rex Sparrow League Project. How the heck are you? Beautiful day out here today in Southern Colorado. It's like the deluge. They just had the news reporters out here because it flooded a couple of days ago, and it's going to be flooding over the next couple of days. It could be even worse. It's like 100-year flood out here in Southern Colorado. But you know what? I don't think that's out of the ordinary anymore. I mean, all sorts of places are getting flooded or wildfires or earthquakes. I mean, it's like we're living in the apocalypse, yet we can still go spend $8 on a coffee at the coffee shop. So at least we got that. But folks, it is a beautiful time to be alive, and we have a lot to talk about. We've got Collin Plume with us today from Noble Gold Investments. I've had about a dozen emails asking to get Collin back on since our last show. Collin, it is great to see you. How the heck are you?
Oh, great. Absolutely fantastic, Rex. Good to be here too. And man, what an amazing bull run we've been on in metals. I think it reminds me very similar to 2011 when we did a lot of money printing back in 2011, and we have different dynamics. We haven't gone on the money printing yet the way that we did in 2009 and 2011. We haven't done the official quantitative easing, but we've done some other things that have stimulated metals. And yeah, I mean, we woke up today. I mean, everybody's talking about gold. Everyone's talking about silver. The prices and the market is quite interesting. It's actually getting very difficult to get silver right now. We still do have silver in stock, but we are running short on physical silver. And part of this was because with what happened over the last few years, some of the mints did slow down. I mean, people may forget, but last year silver was sitting at $29 an ounce spot price. We're sitting at $52 today. So pretty impressive increase over the last 10, 11 months here. But yeah, we're starting to see a few things happen in the physical market, some shortages, some things we haven't seen in a long time. So it's been quite exhilarating. Clients are very happy, obviously, with where the prices are today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like silver tards unite. Hello. And
Yeah,
platinum's done even better than gold and silver as far as the numbers go. I mean, I'm
yeah.
blown away. I've got to ask you because I think that you are very knowledgeable in this regard, and a lot of people have asked me to ask you this question as well. As like with the government shutdown right now, how does this compare to past shutdowns in terms of economic impact, and is that having an impact, do you think, on the precious metals?
Yeah, I think that anytime you have uncertainty in the markets, it's going to create, an environment, whether it's, looming war or currency crisis, which we're going through. Obviously, China and a lot of countries are going away from the dollar consistently. But yeah, I mean, this government shutdown has created an environment where people are looking at safety plays and they're looking at different investments that they've been looking at in the past. And it's a lot of people are looking at potentially not having jobs because they think they're going to do a pretty big layoff. That some of these jobs probably aren't going to come back. So people are concerned about that. And then we also don't have any actual information on a lot of the government statistics that we normally get because they fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which they fired her because she was making consistent errors and over calculating the amount of people that were employed. And then when the numbers came out, they were just way off. They were completely overanalyzing, or not overanalyzing, but just putting out numbers that were much higher than what they actually were. So right now we come in the perfect storm as you have a lot of people that don't know when they're going back to work or what's going to happen, or if they're going to have a job. We don't have any statistics. So I think you're looking at a lot of the people that would be investing based on government statistics. They're not sure what to do because we don't have any of that data. And I don't know when we're going to get some of that data, frankly. And so those are some of the things that I think are driving the price. It's moved up so quickly. Even though 2011, I remember, I do think even this time has been more aggressive in terms of increases, just to have both gold and silver. Because if you remember 2011, gold got close to 2000. Now we're at 4,100 gold, so more than double. And then silver has broken through. 50 was that psychological barrier. I think you and I must have talked about it many times over the last 7 years, that I always felt 50 was that psychological barrier that it needed to go through. And now I'm seeing reports, people are thinking silver is going to break 100 because the demand is so high. And it, it's not out of this world that silver could get there. I do think we'll have a correction at some point here, but it's not something that would be unreasonable based on the amount of industrial uses that we're seeing today in silver. But yeah, I think people are caught off guard by just how fast things have been moving up.
Yeah, it's been happening really fast. And do you think that this shutdown could be like a catalyst basically for a major market correction or some type of Black Swan event?
Well, that's what a lot of people are thinking. They're thinking that they're going to see it's creating an environment where people are like, okay, well, what's the next potential thing that could have problems? And a lot of people are concerned, and we're seeing it a lot too, where people are like, how quickly can I move some of my money out of the stock market, that they don't feel comfortable having all their eggs in one basket and just really being so heavy there. And then some of the things that have been coming out, the reports, I don't know if you've seen, but a lot of the AI, the billions and billions of dollars in AI investments are not proving to be effective. Just on a funny note, like, I don't know if you saw this, Burger King was testing AI for their drive-through windows, and they scrapped it because the AI wasn't really able to figure things out. A lady ordered like 18,000 waters, and the AI just like, combusted because it just didn't know what to do. When simple stuff, things that you think it would be able to figure out. So there's a lot of studies. Deutsche Bank came out with a study that they said almost more than 90% of the AI investment has provided zero value to the market or that corporation. So I just think there's been so much dumb money that is just following this trend. And I think it's, we see these things happen where, like, someone says a catchy phrase like NFT or the metaverse or, any of these things, and then the application AI, but they don't really think, well, is that actually an application that is going to do something that's going to benefit us? Because so many times when someone tells me an application, I'm like, I don't see how it make our lives better. And so that's sort of what I'm seeing out there. Is just, I get, as an entrepreneur, people come to me every day and they're like telling me an AI system that's going to make my life better or easier. But if you really, open up the onion, you just think to yourself, like, I don't see how that makes my life better or faster or easier. And so I think there's just so much money going after that stuff. Plus the crypto market, there's some questions of what's happening there. Is there going to be a major correction? So it's like, where do you go? And now banks are paying less returns. The returns in the banks are going down. So it's like, where do you go? Where do you get that safe return? And so I think that's part of the reason we're seeing so much money in gold and silver, is they just really feel that it's like a safe haven. Platinum too, obviously, has had a massive uptick. So all those things are really performing really, spectacularly right now.
So October is the majority. I looked this up, and I should say, maybe even the majority of market corrections and what some people might consider like stock market crashes or the economy crashing, a lot of times it happens in October, this month. Mm-hmm. And we just had that huge blip with the cryptos. And so, like, a lot of people are questioning, how long can the US dollar remain the global reserve currency? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, we're already seeing it. I can tell you China has made a big push to go away from the dollar. And, listen, there's pros and cons to the tariffs, right? I think the more we push heavy tariffs, the more they're going to want to be independent. And the more, and, the BRIC countries and India and China and Russia have continued to buy tremendous amounts of gold. They want to do currencies in a different way. They want to use the yuan. They want to trade independently between those countries. And so the more we push them away with these heavy tariffs, we put ourselves in this situation. And that's why finding deals, the faster we find these deals, but the prolonged tariff conversation is bad for everybody. It really doesn't. And I'm not saying tariffs aren't good. I'm just saying, like, the longer it goes on and people aren't happy with the deal that they're in, the more it pushes them to use a different currency, to trade in a different way. It really does not benefit us, and it doesn't benefit entrepreneurs here. Entrepreneurs here are really just don't know what to do. They're very much confused. People are confused. People that are buying different types of furniture, different things, they don't know when to buy. Is the tariff going to make it more expensive? Do they wait till next month? Do they buy now? All this hesitation in the consumer market is not good for anybody that's looking to grow a business. And it's a massive part of our economy, is continuing this confidence, this consumer confidence. So you have, consumer confidence a few months ago was the lowest it's been in like almost 10 years. You have the government shutdown. You have we're still $37 trillion in debt. And as much as we have made a lot of changes that I think will help us in the long term, we're still negative $2 trillion a year based on what we bring in and based on what we spend. We spend $7 trillion. We bring in $5 trillion in tax revenue and other revenue. So we're still burning $2 trillion a year. So we haven't bridged that gap. So these are a lot of the things that are giving investors pause investing in, NVIDIA or any of these companies that used to be considered really strong. People are saying, well, if people stop spending, if AI is not as strong as I thought it was, if consumer goods aren't as good as I think they are, maybe Apple's not as good of a stock as it was, it just creates all this, scenario where people are just uncomfortable with what they're doing. And that paranoia and that nervousness and looking at the government shut, you just add this all up into the perfect storm. So I do think the dollar is having more issues. People are concerned as the dollar's down 10% this year. So if you add that all up with the price of gold and silver, it's just a very unbelievable economy that we're in. It's just, I think it's quite scary for day-to-day investors right now. They're just being really cautious. So it's like, do I just sit in cash and make 3.5%, or do I get into something I know like gold and silver? That these are some of the questions. Bonds don't feel good right now, so a lot of people are just questioning what their investment strategy is.
Well, if I look at some recent articles, this is from Zero Hedge. Gold's $4,000 breakthrough, the acceleration that reveals everything. And then this is from Silver Seek. Silver shatters $48, now over $50. Historic tightness drives third ever peak.
Yep.
And then platinum's 85% surge. Space metal outshines gold amid record deficit. And that's finshots.in. So with all of the info about the precious metals, the markets, I just saw a very interesting documentary from Business Insider, actually, that was describing how these data centers that are being built just a block away from homes are so massive and requiring so much energy that in the near future, they could be taking up a quarter of the energy consumption just in the nation, just the data center. And so when you bring up AI, I'm glad you're bringing this up, because a lot of people fear that AI is going to take over the world soon, and it's going to be all robots, and we're going to be in these like fixed income pods, basically. And I've thought about that, but then when you bring up the reality, like Burger King, their AI has a meltdown when you order 18,000 waters. It kind of puts things back into perspective.
Yeah, and I think too. Listen, there's definitely going to be a shift, but AI uses a massive amounts of technology and electricity too. That's another thing to fact. Like the reason that silver is, and a lot of these precious metals really have a significant potential future, is if everything is moving in this direction. So you have data centers, which they use silver. They have catalytic converters. 40% of the catalytic converters use platinum. They used to use palladium. Palladium got too expensive. Then they started using platinum. So you have that consistent use. AI, which is, people are just AIing, ChatGPT. ChatGPT uses a tremendous amount of energy to calculate, to figure it out. I mean, it has to constantly be, those computers are constantly figuring out problems. There's a massive amount of energy. And then you add Bitcoin. How do they calculate that? That takes a lot of energy. Everything takes a lot of energy. And that's the thing people need to realize. If this is where everything is going, what's powering the future? And that's the thing that people really need to be conscious of, is that let's look at 10 years from now. And if people are working less and it's really the computers are doing a lot of the work, what is powering that and how are we building those things? And that's the thing people need to realize, is that you are investing in the future with these metals. As much as they're old school and the gold doesn't, these things are powering the things that we're using in the future. And every government is continuing to buy. I mean, last month, I think we talked about Russia and Saudi Arabia bought $150 million in silver. And it's because they need it for what they're building. They need it for their military. They need it for their day-to-day use. I mean, governments are starting to buy more and more silver. It's a whole new wave of buyers that are coming into the market. And so it's just like you add that with what's happening with our economy and the uncertainty in our economy. And that's why you're seeing this tremendous surge. So it's not an accident that all things are happening. And it's not just kind of pandemonium that is doing it. It's actually be driven by logical buyers that see the value in these metals because they are being used so much in today's world. So that's the thing that people need to realize about silver. It's different than when the Hunt brothers tried to corner the market in 1983. It's just a different market. And every day there's a new use case for gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. And as those continue to go up, the market will say, well, we have to pay more. We need more of these out there. We need more of these metals. And platinum is a great example. I mean, there's just not that much platinum available. It's very hard to mine. So it makes sense. It's up. What did you say? 85%? Is that what it's up this year?
Like 85, 84, 85%. Yeah. Let me just
so as much as everybody's been telling me the stock market, this and that, silver and platinum have outperformed the stock market this year. Gold has consistently outperformed the S&P over the last 5 years. And if you go back the last 20 years, it's actually gold is up about a half percentage point, even on the 20-year run in gold. So that, I think that's been pretty fascinating. But yeah, I mean, if you look at this, what does it say there? Quietly exploded 85%. Gold's at 52%, but I think gold's up even a little bit more. Even since this article came out, gold is up a little bit more. And the nice thing too, and I will say this, and this is really important for investors, is it's a good thing to diversify right now. And obviously we're having a lot of clients that are selling metals because they're retired and they need the money. And the fact that they can sell in an instant and get back into cash so they can buy other things and, feed their family or do whatever, that's what makes this such an amazing opportunity. And it's such a good thing to diversify because, listen, do I think real estate over the long term is going to do really well? Of course. I think your house is going to go up, but you're living in your house. So what are you going to do? What are you going to, if you need money, even if your house doubled, what are you going to do? You're going to pull money out of the house and get more debt? Probably not. You probably don't want to do it. You're going to do a reverse mortgage and lock in that value and then let the insurance company take it and, leave nothing to your kids. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But gold and silver and platinum, palladium, you can sell. You have the liquidity there. You can get out of it any day. So it's really a nice thing. And also real estate too is just not that easy. Even if you had the perfect storm, it's still going to take you 60, 90 days to get out of your house. You're going to have to pay some tax. There's obligations there. So I think having this as a pie, part of the pie, there's some in stocks, some in metals, some, having different things, crypto, it just gives you that flexibility. And so, yeah, people are taking advantage. Some are selling, and then some are telling me that they're swapping one metal into another because they believe that, one of the other metals is going to go on a big run. So it sort of fits different dynamics, and it's it's flexible right now. And I think people that bought from us, they bought bullion items over the last few years, are feeling really good about it. I think
Absolutely. I unmuted and then muted myself. Another thing that I was wanting to talk to you about is a very interesting article that I found about the weaponization of the government shutdown. And this is from The Economist. Government shutdown weaponized, 28 billion frozen as chaos deepens. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, look, any retirement account has been frozen that is tied any TSP. But also, what's going to happen is when they some of these people that get laid off, they're going to have access to their TSP, which it's never good to get laid off. But we have so many people that roll over their TSP into precious metals to diversify. So it does give you that flexibility. That's one of the only benefits, I think, in this situation, is if you do get laid off, you have access to this government money that you've been socking away, and you can roll it into a self-directed IRA, and then you can pick more of the investments. The TSPs, these thrift savings plans with the government, they don't give you a lot of flexibility. So having the flexibility to go in a different direction is really great. And a lot of people do that with us. But yeah, I think, you're looking at a whole group of people that are not getting paid right now, are nervous, kind of worried about where their job's going to be. And, the government's deciding whether these jobs are jobs that we actually need, that these are jobs that will continue. And I do think there will be some layoffs from this, I think they're furloughed, and then I think there'll be some packages and there'll be, less jobs after this. The government's trying to get our budget into a place that we are not losing $2 trillion a year, right? I mean, if we could just break even at this point, I think everybody would be ecstatic. So that's the point we need to get to, is where we're closer to even, or at even, or maybe even positive. Maybe the government can actually make and pay off China and all these countries that we owe money to. Like, we're becoming beholden right now to other places in the world because of all the debt. So, and it is not great for those people, but unfortunately the government needs to find places to make some cuts, because we're spiraling into a debt bubble that we can't control. And who knows what's going to start to happen. I mean, you look at these countries that have this tremendous debt, and then you see these countries that have wealth, and they're just coming in and buying assets. London is owned by many other countries. A lot of the real estate is owned by Qatar and all these other places. And the US, the same thing. A lot of things are being bought by the Saudis or other parts of the world because we've just ran out of money, that we just don't have enough. And that's not good for us. That's not good for our sovereignty. That's not good for our country. So these are some of the things that we got to be careful of.
What's interesting is, and we do got to be careful. I agree with you 100%. And just to add to that, this is also a very interesting article, folks, that you may want to look into further as well. Economic avalanche. It's from Zero Hedge, actually. 18 warning signs point to systematic collapse. And if you just read the top paragraph, it makes enough sense right there to make you really question the American dream and how much of the American dream is difficult to reach now if you look at the numbers in the past. I mean, it's mind-boggling. And there's ways to get around that, but you've got to be persistent. You have to know the opportunities, take advantage of those opportunities, and be prepared, not scared. I mean, absolutely be prepared, not scared. And so I was going to ask you, like, with all of these, so wars, rumors of wars, major flooding, major earthquakes, forest fires, the government shutdown. It just seems like, and then now we've got 3i Atlas in the skies, which I talked to you a little bit about this a month ago. It's really been gangbuster as far as people interested in 3i Atlas, whether it's an alien craft or just really cool interstellar comet. Either way, it's bizarre. But if something was to happen, like, and just hypothetically, I've got to ask you this because I really want to know your thoughts on this. If we did discover that 3i Atlas was like some type of alien craft, what do you think that would do to the economy? What would happen?
I mean, in this year of the most unbelievable things happening, I wouldn't be surprised at this point. I mean, we know that there's there is alien life. We know, and so I wouldn't be shocked by it. I think the fear is, what do they want from us, and can we protect ourselves from anything that they wanted to do to us? And that's the question. I don't know. I am concerned about these things. I am concerned about, how the reaction would be. I mean, there's a reason why the government has been hiding this from us since, the 40s, right? They didn't feel we could handle it as humans, whether that's, right or wrong. That was the stance they took. And, I mean, it is quite concerning to hear that could be some kind of, alien group that wants to keep. I mean, I have a hard time believing that they're not listening, not watching to us. I mean, you know more about this stuff than I do, but I do think it is quite scary to think about that.
Well, and yeah, I just throwing out a wrench for a minute. It's interesting to talk about some fringe stuff for just a moment, just because there's so much intense media coverage of it right now, and people are so divided about what it actually is. And Professor Avi Loeb did actually predict that once this comet goes past the sun, or gets close to the sun, if it was to make a drastic shift, or some type of shift in its orbit, he sees the potential for some type of Black Swan event just because of that. And then I heard that there's people, and I can't confirm this, but I wouldn't be surprised. I heard there's very big names that are trading stocks based upon where 3i Atlas is going to be in the near future. And I thought to myself, well, that there are billionaires that say, hey, billionaires study astrology and astronomy, not millionaires. Astronomy.
Yeah, I'm sure if you go to Polymarket right now, there's a bet on this. There's a bet pretty much on everything.
Yes.
That's under the sun. I mean, anything you can think of, Polymarket's got a line on it. But yeah, I think Rex overall, like it's people have heard me on your show for years. Maybe it's, they bought a little before, or maybe maybe it's not been the right time, or we have more information than ever. Our team is really ready to answer any question that you have. We're working 6 days a week right now because we're so busy in terms of, rollovers and IRAs. So I would just say, just call us. If you never thought about this before, you want to learn, talk to somebody at Noble Gold. Friendly people, nice people, people that own gold and silver. I was talking to one of my, top sales associates, and he was telling me, I mean, he's been buying silver since it was, $8 an ounce. And he was saying he's waiting for it to hit 100. That's where his target is for silver. So I think if you want to learn, it's a good time to learn. Don't be afraid. And as much as I don't know where the price is going to go, I have had people tell me for 16 years, they've always said, they're like, I'm going to wait until it drops back down. And every time they call me later and they regret it. So I think if nothing else, it's a good time to get educated. Call us, Noble Gold Investments, learn from somebody, get information. The call is free. The information's free. And if you do end up doing a rollover or purchase, we do have those promotions going on right now.
Okay, great. Yeah. So just so you know, folks, you can give them a call, 1-877-646-5347. Let them know Rex from Leak Project sent you, and then find out how to get 11 ounces of free silver when you convert your 401 into a qualifying account. This is a great opportunity right now. A 10-ounce solid silver flag, and then a 1-ounce silver round. It's actually American Eagle proof, which is even better. So take advantage of that opportunity. And also free books.
$700 in free silver with any IRA, qualified IRA.
That's pretty good. That's pretty dang good. Great time, man. Great time. And I really appreciate you. And also, do you have any of your books left? Silver is the New Oil.
Amazon. It's on Amazon. It's right here. It's been moving up. Yeah, if you want to learn about why I'm so such a believer in silver, check this out. Hit the bestseller in December last year. Nice. Sitting in commodities. I think it's at 26 today on the list there. So check it out. Easy read. And I'm working on my next book. I'm really excited about it. But yeah, silver is the new oil. So check it out. Appreciate it. And Rex, as always, fun to be on. And
Yeah.
You know, every time I talk to you, I think things are going up, and it's just unbelievable what's happening right now.
Yeah, man, it's an awesome time to be alive. And Collin, thank you very much. I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us. Hit the bell, be well, and also subscribe to Collin's YouTube channel. Check out Noble Gold on YouTube. They do great updates, and be the change you want to see.